Go live tab. Of course, we gotta make it shmoney. Oh my gosh, the description is all fucked up. So let me fix that real quick. The folks are gonna have to wait for their plugs, or gonna have to wait to plug the tier list. This is a little fucked up. Alright, let's try. There we go. It's a little better, yeah? Alright. So I'll go ahead and go there. What's up, Bash? You got here before the plug, man. Got here before the plug. How's it going, broski? Alright. Real quick, I'm gonna plug this for all the people. With a talking about coaches' drafts. Afterwards, copy of the tier maker for those of you who would like to make your own. Is that fellow round 2 ORS Cup competitive? Dude, I'm already in round 3, big dog. I don't know about you, but we are on in round 3. The Dan document is what I just typed. Alright. We're live with the tier list PR stream. Bam. We will ping all 100 plus people, and then we just plug into my server for the folks. Oops. Gifting 5 gifties, maybe 10 today. Alright, we'll go here. Also gifting 5 to 10 gifties. Alright. No true big buy game. I already won my buy game. I don't know about you, man. Also, let me know how music sounded, y'all. Hopefully it's sounding good. Hopefully it's sounding good. Alright, let me go ahead. We're gonna get a tier maker, too. Or a member goal. I'm not an S tier that knows you only the hater confirm, spread the word. Daniel, you're gonna have a rough stream, man. Oh man. Don Van Rain, number one in drip factor at the very least. All right, 22 out of 27. 22 out of 25. All right. Once we have some people rolling here, we're gonna go ahead and get 5 gifties going too for the folks at home. And if we end up getting a couple more, we'll give away 5 more. Don Fan Rain, baby. See, the streets know what's up. The streets know what's up. All right.
I could use a little help.
1 second. I gotta go to the channel because I gotta pull up the stream. I gotta give it a like. Also, if you haven't I'm liking my own stream before you're liking my stream. You're here, hanging out. OGL final stream win soon, Halbert, soon. Hello, John Jr. Oh, that's why there was no callers this morning, because John fucking yoinked you. That's tough, man. That's a tough one. Hello, it's round 2 ORS competitor J Scurf here. Big J Scurf. Absolutely big. I have no issues from the user I cannot see. No way we're blocking people, man. No way we're blocking people. Alright. I'm supposed to pick in Little Cup Draft. I kind of forgot. Oops. Where's Tiro? Tiro needs to pick for me in Little Cup. What should I get, big dog? Alrighty, gang. How many got? We got 17 here. Alright, we're gonna drop 5 gifties for you guys, and then we'll go ahead and reveal the sub goal. Let me go ahead Any Dodgers in the chat? Membership gifting. We have 10 left to give this month. We'll give 5 now and 5 more. If we just get 3 more subs after that to get us to 25, we went and hit. And a top 32 EO competitor. Pig. Check meter chat and goons. Oni's getting one. Bonnet Bandit. Aim will get another one. Transcell and CG all with the free gifty. What that's going to do is that's going to go ahead and push us up to 22 members at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and move this actually because I don't want to cover my face. But if we hit 25, then we'll go ahead and give 5 more. Yeah? Dodge easy. Thank God you didn't get one, big dog. Thank God you didn't get one. What did I get pinged for? My webcam is bigger than the border. Oh, jeez. Okay, I'll fix it. Is it? I feel like it's not. I feel like it's not, but... Oh, at the bottom it was. At the bottom. Okay. I was like, on the left, it's not. There we go. You're welcome. Oh, we love a good dodge. Hey, just need 3 more. You might not dodge next time, right? 3 more memberships, and we'll get going. Alrighty, we got 19 people here, though. And then I think we have it set up. Oop, nope, I have my own stream set up there. Hold on, I need to make sure I don't have that pulled up. Alright, let's check now. Here, and here's the other scene. Yeah, there we go, we're good. Slightly different face cam boxes, but hey, it's fine. He's playing low tier and little cup. Truly hates shampoo. Well, he shouldn't be allowed in standard either, buddy. He shouldn't be allowed in standard either, buddy. I don't know what you thought this was. That guy should not be allowed in standard. Alright. That being said, though, I think we can jump into it. I'm not going to rank my team until the end, and I don't even know if I'm going to rank my team. I might let you guys rank my team and see where we're at. We'll also decide. We're kind of just going to go one by one, and we might end up adjusting teams as we go. But yeah, I think at this point, I think we can just jump through, yeah? Oh wait, we got Tiro joining us. What's up, Tiro?
Hello.
There we go. Alright, actually, what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to adjust the glitch sound. And then turn up the desktop audio. Dodge by joining 30 seconds late. That's tough, man. You gotta be ready to go. You gotta be ready to go. Though you're drafting to 16, John Jr. I didn't know that he had his hand up your ass and you were just puppet speaking for him. That's tough, man. That's not a good look. John Jr. of all people? That's a crazy look. That John Jr. guy is hella toxic. Hey, it's pretty tough. It's pretty crazy. Alright, hold on. Let me share my screen for you, Tiro. Alright. We'll go ahead. Actually, you know what I'll do is I'll share my OBS because you can see me switching tabs a little bit easier. There we go. Let's get it. How's it going, Dapper? Alrighty, gang. I think actually we're starting off with Dapper. My chat wasn't working. Keegan, a real one. He can't get into chat. Dude, he keeps talking. He's not going to be able to get into chat. Alright. That being said, though, I think we can kind of jump into it. Let's go ahead. We'll look at good old Dapper Snapper's team here first. He's the Appalachia Appletons. By the way, this is the fan document. If you haven't joined the LTM server yet, go ahead and hit it in the description below. This will be released after the stream. I'll also release a tier maker if you guys want to go ahead and make your own versions of it. It'll be available to you. But, that being said, I think we just gotta move. Oop, not that. We gotta move this guy a little bit. There we go. Oh boy, ready to get roasted. Of course, I'm gonna rip into every one of you guys. Alright, ready to go. Alright, so, on the Appalachia Appletons, we have PZ, Low Kicks, Slowbro, Terrakilowatchel, which is solid, Flygon, Fez, Chandelure, Virizion, Magnezone, Toedscruel, and Komala. I don't know how I feel about this team, to be completely honest. Maybe it's the Slowbro. Absolutely sucking momentum. Keegan, a real one.
Toedscruel sucks.
Toedscruel, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. I like the spikes that it offers. Again, in the low tier metagame, I don't think it's terrible. I'm not the biggest Toedscruel hater in the world. I do feel like there's a lot of mons that really, really, really want a Terra here. I think we banned Terra on low kicks, so I think that's valid to not have that guy, right? Let me just double check. Ooh.
Did we ban Terra on Chandelier?
No, we did not.
Oh, that would have been a fire Terra.
It would have been cool. Yeah, low kicks is Terra banned. So I just want to double check that before I glazed it all or anything like that.
Yeah. No way we allow low kicks. Yeah.
Porygon isn't Porygon isn't allowed to Terra. Kilo is definitely a great Terra captain. I do fuck with Kilowattrel a ton. Like, I really do think that mont's really, really solid. Kilowattrel is bad. He should drop it. I'm sure you think so, Don Fan Rain. Don't worry, we'll get to you later. Despite the Flygon hate, I actually really like Flygon. I think it's someone that really wants Terra too in a format like this. For sure, it would have been a nuke. I think the Flygon really appreciates Terra, especially in a generation where I feel like it has to play more offensively due to the lack of Roost and things of the sort, which is tough. I'm not big on... I don't know. What are my gripes with this team? Because part of it does feel a little off. What do you think, Tiro?
Ground types, that's my gripe.
Yeah, I guess ground... See, I think the same thing, right? This is the conventional resists aren't great. And like Virizion Toadscroll, they don't really like resist ground. But there is double immunity and a Slowbro, right? Now, like
I mean, like the Slowbro is there to suck the momentum drive, but yeah.
Don Van Rain is a fan favorite, true. Flygon is your... Flygon's a cool guy. Kilowattrel is cool if you have the Balls Run Hurricane. Well, with Terra especially... I think it's incredible. I actually really don't. I actually really like it.
I'm 100% fine with Kilowattrel.
Yeah, we do have the fan doc. It'll be released after stream. It'll be released to you guys. Okay. New Gramble too. Big new Gramble. I do like a lot of the momentum-based offense. I think what I'm realizing is that we really wanted better hazards on this team. I think when you have mons like Low Kicks, Kilo, Flygon, Fez, Magnezone, even Komala to a lesser extent, I think those guys really, really appreciate solid spikes. And as much as I'm not like a Toadscroll hater, like most people, also, holy shit, 36 people, what's up, gang? I don't know if I'm big on that as my spiker. Yeah, it lasts rockers, and it's not great hazards-wise, but I don't think structurally the team is bad. I think maybe it's just the hazards thing. I think this is like the textbook definition of like a low 6 through 10 team, potentially. Again, we'll adjust.
I'll give it that, yeah.
Yeah, we'll adjust potentially later if we like something else. I'm going to move this so we can see that. No, I'm not. We can definitely adjust it later, but I definitely don't think it's bad. I like a lot of the offense. I think a lot of the offense is really, really strong here, right? Porygon Z is... And again, just... Oh, if we had better hazards, dude. Peasy and Low Kicks and Kilo and Flygon and... Like, there's so much momentum. I just said Flygon has rocks. Well, yeah, but it's not the best rocker. It's all but mid. Yeah, I agree. How's it going, Blue? Also, 37 people here. I really do appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. Again, if you want to drop a like on the stream, I'd really appreciate it. We got 37 people here, only 14 likes. Come on, we could double those likes.
37 people, only 14 likes, and only 22 members.
That's crazy. Also, yeah, 3 more members and we'll get 5 more, right? Big stuff. We'll get all the way up to 30 members today. That's huge. Absolutely massive. You did get a gifted. It might have been last time. I'm not sure. Because I don't think you were in the names that popped up this time, Bennett. But yeah, I think 6 through 10 is fine for now. We'll adjust, and we'll kind of, like, figure out where we want to go from there. Alright, next we do have Big Panther 2. Coach of your Carolina Fables. And he's right here, actually. We don't even have to, like, adjust the thing at all. Big pack. Glimmet pick win. Honestly, it wouldn't be the worst pick in, like, hold on, let's scroll back down. Honestly, dropping a Komala for a Glimmet. I mean, this team is so Ghost Week, though. I don't know. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, right? I wouldn't make fun of him for a Glimmet. That guy's not bad, especially in low tier. Its feature's actually pretty okay, right? Alright. Panther has Heracross, Noivern, Tinkaton, which I really like this start. I think this start's really, really incredible. Slowking, great means of getting into a lot of these guys. Sinistcha with Terra, which I think is a really, really obnoxious Pokemon, whether it be as like a guaranteed, defensive check to whatever you need it to be. Terra Watersheds are great, Terra Fairy, all really cool stuff. Skuntank, Rotom Heat, Crawdaunt, Rhydon, Grafaiai, and Satitan. So we have that snow aspect with Satitan. I really like that bulky momentum core and things like the Slowking plus the Rotom. I'm definitely not opposed to that. Right on the ground is a bit tough, can't lie to you. Where are we looking? Ground resist wise, we're looking great into Sinistra. Flying resist wise, in a low tier metagame, I think that's a really important thing to have. We have 2 great flying resist and Tinkaton. I really like this team so far. Speed tier wise, isn't Graphite? What's Graphite sitting at right now? He's like 110, right?
Bro, I don't know. It's a Graphite.
I understand that. It is free Terra, yes.
That mon doesn't exist in my eyes.
It is free Terra. Will you look up how fast it is for me so I don't mess up the vibes on stream? I don't think it's bad. I actually don't think it's bad, dude. I think that guy can be super cheesy and annoying. I think
it's an unburdened mon. That's what Graphite is.
Yeah, and well, I think it's also a prankster guy, 110. Okay, so I also really like the speed tier on this team. I really like the 110 speed tier because there's a fatty gap. And I think that's one of the issues. I think the speed tiers are kind of ass here. We go Noivern, Graphite, which isn't coming very often, to be honest, and then it falls off the face of the earth. Like, it really does fall off a ton.
Yeah.
I would have personally Terra to ride on. I think that's valid if we were like forcing lower tier Terra, but we weren't in this league, right? We had a lot of mid tiers and higher tiers that could Terra. Dude, there's so many 110s, big. Yeah, there's a lot of mid tiers and higher tiers that could Terra. I think Sinister's really good. I think like Calm Mindsets can be really, really obnoxious with Strength Sap, and I think it actually really, really appreciates the Terra. I really like the Tinkaton round 3 too. I love these first 5 picks. Like, I really like the first 5 picks. Again, another team that would have loved spikes though. There's no spikes, right? Graphite definitely doesn't get them. Rhydon doesn't get them. Yeah, there's no spikes. Oh, no, there's Heracross. But do you want to spike with Heracross?
Like, Heracross is there. He got spikes now.
Yeah, but do you want to spike with Heracross, like, ever?
We do now.
I guess, if you have to. But in my mind, the mon I want to spike for is Heracross, right? I don't want to spike with my Heracross. I want to spike for Heracross. So Heracross can come in and click Facade and Close Combat and Knock Off and Earthquake and all this great stuff. I do like the balance build though, and I think like something that's cool to keep in mind here is I think in this metagame where the power level has dropped off like a crazy amount in SV in low tier, I think that balance builds are a lot more viable. I like this team a lot. I think it's probably going to end up in that 6-7 range. We'll adjust again if we need to. Yeah, well, it could potentially be top 5. I think if it's top 5, it's like 4 or 5 at most.
I just don't like Noivern as a Pokemon in general.
Exactly, Pepsis, right? Like, you're getting in the mon that has no switch-ins, don't fucking click spikes. Click the attack. I want to spike for my Heracross to kill everything, right? But I don't want to spike with my Heracross. Is the way I
spike so that next time he comes in, he can click a move.
Or we get a spiker so we never have to do that again. Oh, I forgot to switch over. But yeah, I have Panther at 6 through 10 here. This is totally one I could see moving up this way. But I want to see the rest of the teams. I want to see the rest of the teams first. All right.
Everyone's going 6 through 10. It's been decided.
So true. Oop, that's draft notes. All right, I recorded that a couple days ago. All right. Next up, we actually.
Uploaded it?
I did upload it. Yeah, I double uploaded it yesterday.
Okay, we're good.
Woo! It's just a screenshot of the thing. It's fine.
No spoilers.
Next up, we have T-Row. We gotta find Tyler Ronathan. Are you on the bottom half of the dock or on the top half? What was your pick?
Late.
You were late. Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't remember you being early.
I was like.
Oh, there you are.
Beside you.
Yeah. All right, the Columbus Cobalion. Shameless plug. Shameless plug where? I mean, hey, the files still haven't gone up.
Shameless, this is shameful.
Hey, if you ain't watch it, if you don't watch it. By the way, we have 36 viewers, only 21 likes. Guys, we gotta have 36 likes and only 3 more members and we'll get 5 gifties out to y'all. Come on. If we're shameless plugging, we might as well shameless plug. But yeah, let's go on to Zero. Now, obviously, you can yell at me if you think I'm being incorrect about your team or glazing it too much, but the mon I was super thinking about, because you went right before me, you kind of made my decision easier. I was originally going to go Entei round 1. I think this guy went super late, and I think people are super sleeping on it. Like, I think this guy looks really, really freaking good. I love Shaman in low tier too. I think with Terra, it becomes really, like, so much better offensively. I love Shaman a lot. Yeah, good for low tier with C-Flare. That's what I'm saying, especially with Terra, like being able to get that Terra Fire coverage if you need to, Terra Flying, going a defensive typing like a Terra Poison or Fairy or Water or something like that, flipping your weaknesses, or just becoming a check to whatever you need to, because you're base 100 across the board, which is so much bulkier in low tier than it is in standard.
Oh yeah.
I think that guy's really good. I like the Klefki option. Good spiker. And it gives you a screens option for alligator. It's really the only thing that super takes advantage of screens, so I don't think you'll go screens very often. Unless it's like a defensive, I need to not die to something. Yeah. I like Entail, or I like for alligator a lot. I think that guy will be really cool. There's a webs aspect. We also have great things for bulky water, right? Was Gator Terraband? It sure was. That's why Shaman is Terra, not the Gator. It sure was. That guy was super Terraband. I really like how we've offensively supported Entei in the first 5 picks, though, right? Or I guess the next 4 picks after Entei. Shaman is going to smoke and switch into any water. Galvanta is going to pressure them all, as well as get up webs for you. Gator is going to pressure them in general, as well as be a great setup win con after Entei has absolutely broken down teams, and keys spikes for them all, which is really, really nice. I like Dragalji a lot. It's going to be ridiculously strong in a meta too, where there's no steals, and you probably grab the best check in the metagame in Klefki to Dragalji, at least off defensively. So I think that's really solid. I will say I think Hitmontop is the worst Pokemon of all time. I think it's the most dogshit spinner ever. I think maybe if you're Terra and you can rock Terra Dark or Terra Ghost sets, so you can actually threaten the things that are going to spin block you. I guess there isn't a lot of spin block in this meta. I'm just always underwhelmed by Hitmontop, and it's bulk and damage output very often. Maybe some more
the spin
pivots.
blockers in this meta is they're physical. Yeah. So I just intimidate them, and then I can break them down.
I do agree some more means to get into Entei would be nice. I think that's right, Noya, because you're right, Shaman can baton pass, but it doesn't like fitting that move. Trust, as a guy who just used Shaman in BBR, I think I didn't run baton pass once. I think I had it on the build for finals for a quick second, and then ended up taking it off. I hate him on top. It's so fake. I think Shaman being Terra EQ spam, that is another very, very valid point, right? And if that Shaman is going to be switching up typings, the moment you can force that Terra, and you can play in means to force Terras, right? That's kind of how you're supposed to play around it. So you're taking away that 50-50 away from yourself. I think that EQ is really scary to this team. Tiro, do you agree that ground is very, very scary?
Yeah. I grabbed Shaman. It was towards the end of the draft. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, once my Shaman Terras, I lose to grounds, and
once
especially...
the Shaman's done tearing, it ain't looking too hot.
Yeah, and the only immunity being Oricorio, I feel like we're going to see a lot of balloon Klefkis. Like, Salty D-Ray move off. We have 45 people and not imagine, what are we going to do for me? That's what I'm saying. 47, folks, which is also, by the way, fucking crazy for a PR stream. 47 people in chat is crazy. I do appreciate you guys, despite me glazing and yelling for likes and things like that. I do appreciate it. That's a shit ton of people for a Monday morning at 11 a.m. That's a lot of folks, so I appreciate y'all. So I do agree. Very, very ground weak. Dude, it's hard to do these tierings because I keep saying middle, but I don't really know where the rest of the teams are. I feel like there's going to be a lot of teams ranked in the middle until we get the 5, 6 through 10 guys, and then we're going to start moving everybody.
All right, so things I've noticed with this team after, building with it and drafting it is even with the bulky, even with the Feraligatr plus Entei, bulky waters fucked this team up.
Really? You feel? Do you feel pressure?
I can go Shaman all I want, and they're just going to switch out. I mean, I love the Dragalji aspect of this. I think Dragalji is definitely an underslept mon and probably a little bit under tiered or low tier because it just spams Draco and nothing is switching in. It's just what I've found out is this team struggles hard against any bulky water.
Well, and another thing too, I think would help too is the fact that they can kind of just come in, you go Shaman, they switch out into whatever check. You can't really go hard Gal very often. Dragalji gets burned and it's basically dead, right? Because it's coming and taking rocks, burn, spikes, whatever. I think, and again, maybe this is something that they just the Gen 9 in me, I think spikes would have been so fucking good on this team. We have, better...
Maybe would have been so fucking... I have a Klefki, that is the spikes.
I know. Maybe it's just I want a more offensive spiker that forces more progress. I don't know. It's tough. I do agree. But I genuinely think if you can keep up hazard pressure, and even if you're forcing doubles and switches, if you're chipping things down consistently and that's solid, maybe it's a lack of knockoff is one of the big issues, right? Most bulky waters have flip turn. Yeah, but mons like Shay can often run, helmets to punish that.
Yeah.
And something else to keep in mind, too, is if we're keeping up the hazard pressure, obviously boots are a thing. We can run helmets to punish flip turns, but also the fact that, when we get into Entei, as long as we're finding means to get into Entei and we click Sacred Fire, something gets burned, right? And that's beautiful because it's getting burned, it's potentially taking Helmet on a momentum turn, or it's staying in and taking a burn chip. If it's not boots, it's taking rocks and spikes. And then those teams don't really deal with it well anymore. And that opens up the Feraligatr endgame and things like that. Every team needs Gren. Yeah, if only we allowed Gren, right? How's it going, Hunky? How's it going, Thomas? But yeah, I think I'm gonna go Tiro. Would you say you're around that 6 to 10 mark? I don't think it's below. I don't know if it's 1 to 5 yet.
It's definitely not 1 to 5. It falls off hard after Dragalge.
Well, yeah, I'm like I said, I'm not a big Hitmontop fan. I do love Palisand Regirock. Sneasel, it fits a speed tier for you, right?
Sneasel was there for the speed.
That's kind of his job. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put you in that 6 to 10 mark.
I do love Oricorio in low tier. Just because of the simple fact I could be any of the 4 Oricorios, and they're really annoying to prep for if you don't know exactly which one's going to come.
That's a ground immunity too, baby. We take those. But yeah, I think I'm going to go 6 to 10 for now. I think I like Panthers team a little bit better, personally. But what I need to do
I love Panthers team. Outside Noibat.
Tiro, if you want to be on a mission...
What's my mission?
If you could go to the description as we talk about teams, if you could link their channels so that people can go check them out. If you guys want to check out in the description, we have all the coaches linked in the description, but Tiro will post them, so you can hang out with them. Is Susumu Zorg banned? I believe it is, yes.
Do we have the exclamation point, or am I...
No, dear, that's not what I'm saying. Don't put words in my mouth, Daniel. So go ahead and link yourself first. No, offensive spiker, it means like a spiker with offensive pressure and does a lot of damage, but not the main benefactor of the spikes. What'd you say, Tiro?
Do we have the exclamation point stuff, or am I hunting?
No, we'll go. It's in the description of the stream, so you can just like copy link.
Oh, it's in the description.
Yeah, it's just like post in chat. Makes it easier because people are lazy and they won't click on it. Yeah, it's not going to be the exclamation point. You might be there from like a past draft stream. Yeah, exactly. If you have a mon that can afford to take the turn to click spikes, that's fine. But Heracross quite literally kills the entire tier. That's why it's like a top 5 mon in low tier. It quite literally kills the whole tier. So I don't know if I would ever click spikes with that. Now, offensive spikers, like in the means of what's an offensive spiker on this draft board? Let's look at one. One that doesn't mind clicking spikes.
Great question.
I think Overquill could be considered an offensive spiker in low tier. Sandy Shocks could totally be considered an offensive spiker in low tier.
Sandy Shocks runs into the 4 Moose Lost real fast.
It does, but that's just the Sandy Shocks problem in general. I still think it qualifies as an offensive spiker. It runs into that problem in standard too. Clodsire? No, I'm just kidding. I think Iron Thorns too, if you didn't draft it as your round 1 Terramon guy. But that's an Oboe specific issue, I think, more than anything else.
I'm sorry, Iron Thorns is not worth a round 1 pick, Oboe.
We'll get there. We will get there. I'm trying to think, dude, is this just like a spikeless metagame? There's a lot of them.
Or the spikes users are all like defensive.
I mean, yeah, well, we saw Claude. But yeah, I guess like my idea with, what do you call it, Heracross, is that it is your number 1 big guy. I don't want to click spikes with that guy, you know? That just seems tough, you know? Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll switch over. I keep forgetting to switch over. Sandy Shocks, yeah. Offensive Deancey. Frostos can be an offense. That's a good one, Emil. That's a very good example. That's not like a high tier, top end Pokemon. Alrighty, you guys see where we're at? Yeah. Alright. The next team has the best offensive spiker. True. We have Thomas, who is our first overall pick, and I'm actually really excited to talk about this team because I think this team has some really fun Pokemon on it. Like some really, really fun Pokemon on it. So we gotta go here. Go here. And then we're gonna slide over just a little bit. So, on Thomas's team, we have Jugulis, Taurus Fire, which I think is such a good Pokemon in low tier. Such a good Pokemon in low tier. Terratox, which is probably one of the better Terramons we allowed. Tentacruel, giving him a second Grounded Poison, which is cool. Bronzong, Solid Fairy Resist, Solid Dragon Resist, ground immunity, which is really nice into these 3, especially because you don't want to use Jugu in that regards. Webs and Rabombi, which I really like, and we'll get into that. Mudsdale, Porygon 2, who is unfortunately really terrible. Brambleghast, which I actually really like. I really like Brambleghast in this tier a lot. Pincurchin, which I actually think is a clutch aspect to this team. And then Raichu, which might be a little bit redundant. But we'll talk about it. I actually really like Thomas's team a lot. I love Jugu in this tier. I think that Flying is by far the best offensive typing in this metagame. And he has debatably the strongest one, right? Offensively. I think Jugu is going to be very, very strong. I'm a big Jugu stan, especially in E-Terrain. This thing's coverage, plus its speed tier, plus its special attack stat. I mean, this thing's going to be ridiculously strong, especially if we can fit that Pincurchin, which is another spiker, to be fair, right? Another spiker, which is really, really nice. But then, the second best offensive typing in low tier, one that pairs really well with Flying, is going to be offensive Fightings. And I think Tauros Paldea Fire is a top 5 fighting type in this metagame. I used Tauros Paldea Fire in the low tier tournament that Smogon did last year, and I freaking fell in love with that mon. It was so unbelievably good. We have Terra Tox, which is very often just going to be clicking Terra Normal Boom Burst, but I don't think we really need versatility when we have Pokemon like this. My one gripe with Tox in general is its speed tier is terrible. Obviously, it can OHKO the entire metagame, but Scarf doesn't OHKO the whole metagame. It OHKOs like 40% of it. Specs OHKOs the whole metagame, right? Life Orb OHKOs the whole metagame. But when we're outsped and killed by anything, it doesn't really matter. But the webs aspect in Rabombi, I think, is actually a really cool option. I also like Rabombi offensively in a metagame with like no steel types, especially when you're grabbing one of the better ones, right? You can kind of auto-click close combat into this team. To an extent, yes. But there's offensive revenges in things like Iron Jugulis. Tauros can check a lot of fires if you need to defensively. Tentacruel can pivot into close combats. Bronzong's going to take them. Rabombi can definitely pivot into a close combat. It's not going to want to take the Iron Head, Rock Slide, Fire Punch, whatever. Brambleghast can definitely check a lot of offensive fightings. Mudsdale is a catch-all physical check to most things. And then we even have something like Raichu that can revenge them. So this team isn't like great at switching into offensive fightings, like, but it can deal with them, you know? I don't think it's definitely like an auto loss, but yeah, I really, oh yeah, and the new logo too, big stuff for Thomas. I really do, I don't know about you, I think this is a top 5 team.
I mean, I don't really care for Brambleghast or P2.
Yeah, the one that I'm not a P2 guy.
His removal is, it's a Tentacruel, which Tentacruel is a good spinner, don't get me wrong. It's just, its defense is garbage.
Well, I think we're glazing Bramble, or I think we're ripping into Brambleghast too much. I really like it as a spinner in a low tier meta.
I've used that thing so many times. It always disappoints.
Dude, I don't know.
Low tier or high tier, it's still not doing what you want it to.
Dude, I don't know. It's a spinner that's going, as long as you can position it correctly, it's a spinner that's going to get off that spin. You can't go into that spin blocker. You're gonna get smoked. It also gives the team a good ground resist, whereas it only had immunities before. I don't know. Yeah,
I don't
really like.
Brambleghast is a good.
I love Bramble. That's my goat. I think it's actually a really good mon. It's a good offensive spiker. I think before it had Poltergeist, it was terrible. But now that I got that move, I'm a big Bramble guy. I think this is a 1 through 5 team. Maybe on the lower end, we'll see as we go throughout. But I really, really like.
Is
Bramble.
it better than the other teams we've seen so far? Yes,
yeah.
No doubt. Do I like it? No.
Oh man, Thomas, I got your back, big dog.
I do. Like, I love aspects of it. Like, I'm a huge Mudsdale stan. I've been a huge Mudsdale stan since that mon came out. And
I'm not big on P2. I think P2 is the thing I like the least about this. I think
it doesn't have teleport, so it's just there.
Yeah, no port, no toxic. It's so passive and weak, and offensive fightings are one of the best things in this tier. It's not like the things that beat P2 are high tier Pokemon. They're actually usually the mid tier, breakers and strong Pokemon like that. Go ahead and rank Obo last. Probably, dude. I don't think I could rank Obo last. He'd get so upset. But yeah, I think this team, and again, I also don't really know about the Raichu. I get it,
I like
right?
Raichu.
Like Overload.
Right.
My thing is, are you ever bringing Raichu on this team? I guess like you could have like the idea of like Overload principle with like Tox plus Raichu, one breaks for the other and kind of smokes.
If you find a team that doesn't really beat electric types that kind of
or a team that like you could also use in this respect of like say I'm WinCon Tox or WinCon Raichu. I could bring like you know, a sash set on the other and like click super effective coverage move into whatever, like especially with Raichu having Grass Knot and Surf and Focus Blast and shit like that. Like it can usually hit the check well. It's just not going to Oko it and you're going to die back. But if I do that, that means my Tox kills it. So I think that aspect of it's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not, yeah. And again, it also could just be a matter of like, didn't really need anything else. And this was in 6 points, right? So I think that's valid too. So.
Yeah. He used all of his points, which, you know, I'm kind of shocked about.
Yeah, that's big. Oh, that's my battle thing. Thank God my Switch wasn't on. That would have been funny. I have like 18 tabs open on OBS, if you guys can't tell. I'm going to have to click, and it's so unorganized. Tio can see my OBS thing. Look at all these window captures. And
yeah, it's definitely something.
It's painful. All right. Next up, we have the Garden State Arbelivas in Hunky, who's in chat right now.
I love Arbeliva. Did he draft Arbeliva?
I don't think so, actually. I know he sniped.
I'm very disappointed now.
Yeah, 11 to 16. No, he sniped my fucking Mienshao, though. Dick. Alright. So, he got one of the big tiering mistakes in the Hisuian Braviary. I think I literally just forgot to move. There's a couple things we forgot in this tier. It's this and Venomoth. Actually, are the only big ones. I literally just forgot to move Braviary from where it wasn't BPR. So he got a super, super underpriced Braviary, and I didn't realize it until he drafted it. So that's great vision by him. Very, very good vision by him.
Hisuian Braviary, I've used that as a Terramon in BPR. That thing goes crazy.
Yeah,
it's a great that we allowed it to Terra in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, if it was going to be allowed to Terra, it would be really, really high tier here. It would be like at that cusp. So he got it for dirt cheap. And that's just because I missed it, to be completely honest. I just forgot to move it out. A few things we forgot. But yeah, that's on me, and he found it, and getting that in the back wheel I think is really solid. I also really like it with Xiao. I think Xiao grabs great momentum into it, which is great. It beats darts, it beats steals, it beats rocks, so I really like that core. I don't like the next 4 picks.
Okay, Talonflame sucks and has sucked since Gen 6. Hydrapple is a mon that you're hoping Twin Beam or whatever it's...
Dude, I think Hydrapple... Dude, this is some JJDL crossover. I think Hydrapple is one of the worst Pokemon ever. That guy is terrible. How can you have stats like that, a move pool like that, and regenerate and still be so bad? I am not big on Hydrapple, man. I really think that it's not great. Just that Grass Dragon typing.
Yeah, it's tough. Really
I'm also not a big Talonflame hater, but I feel like it was drafted for arbitrary...
I will be for you.
I feel like it was drafted arbitrary speed tier reasons. We end up getting an offensive fire later that covers fairies and has good resistance. I love Volcanion, by the way, which is a pick later. We already have the offensive flying for flying spam. I think Talonflame is here for arbitrary speed tier reasons, right? Orthworm, it gives us hazards, right? I'm a minute late. You might want to rewind a little bit. I hyped up your first 2 picks, and I kind of been shitting on it. No, Torterra was... Torterra was Terraband. It wasn't a lot of Terra. But I think Braviary would be debatably as good as that as a Terramon.
I would say Braviary is better than Torterra as a Terramon.
I think
overall.
Yeah, I think I think Orthworm is okay in this meta, right? The issue with Orthworm is it's just one of those mons that really, really lacks in stat department. And the things you want it to do, it just doesn't do as well as you'd want. Obviously, Chantel's banned, so keep that in mind, guys. But as a spiker, it gives us spikes, which is good. We end up getting a better spiker later. It gives us rocks.
Yeah.
We got Torterra, which is a better rocker later. So I'm not huge on Orthworm. I think it's a steal, which is great. But we have 2 fairy resist too, so we don't necessarily need it for that. And we have a good fairy in Douchbun. I think 4-point Douchbun is also very, very clutch. I'm never going to be a big Alecki guy. I understand it's low tier, and the grounds aren't as good, and you can whittle them down. And if you can kill the ground, then you win. But it's the issue of if my ground is only here to check Alecki, I'm going to not be stupid, and I'm going to use it to check Alecki. That's it. I'm not going to let my other grounds, or my grounds take damage.
It nerf Transistor.
Yeah, so it's not even as strong, right? It's not picking up the same Okos. And again, it's such a weird mod, man. Like, you give it that ice coverage, that water coverage, that grass coverage, and it becomes ungodly broken. But without it, it's just kind of mid. I do love Torterra. I think Torterra, offensively and defensively, is going to be great in this metagame. And you have solid ice resist, right? Actually, it's just Folk. That's a solid ice resist, right?
What do you mean? You got Orthworm right there. Solid ice resist.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, if all the ice types are clicking Ice Beam, your Orthworm's taking 30% from them, you know? Volk is a great one. I do like Volk. What's up, Glenn? How's it going? I feel like me and Shao, Braviary, and Volk have to hold the team together. Yeah, for sure. Those three always come. And I love the Volk, too. I love the Volk. I think Dowshpun is great low-tier value at 4. I love Quillfish as well. I think it's a great spiker, gives us all dark as well. This team really didn't like bulky psychics, or at least switching into them, which is nice. Or even just offensive psychics, right? Now, again, the issue, like, the guard matchup is one that's tough. You're always in just between a rock and a hard place, right? If I go into my Quillfish on a Specs Moonblast, I'm going to take 60%. If I go into my Volcanion on a Specs Psychic, I'm going to take 70%, right? So there are certain type combinations that make this draft a little bit tough to deal with. And then we have Ambipom, which I think is actually low-key a sleeper. I don't think he's bad. 7 points, strong, fast, good coverage, not a lot of steals in the metagame, and we have double fire to take advantage of it. Plus Mienshao is actually a fun physically offensive, what do you call it?
I stand the Ambipom thing.
Yeah, I think he's a valid guy. It also gives me a defogger to alleviate that role from Braviary. See, I'm of the opinion, I don't think defog is a necessary role to draft. I think having fog on something, unless your team is A, very hazards weak, I'm gonna need a bonbon in a second, but unless your team is A, very hazards weak, or B, it's just a bond that's on your team that happens to get that as well, I think that it's fine. I think on a team like this, with Regent Core of like Mienshao, what do you call it? Mienshao, why am I blanking on his name? Hydrapple. Hisui Braviary is going to be running boots a lot. Talonflame's always going to be running boots. Aleki is probably not coming in very often, to be honest. Orthron definitely doesn't appreciate like spikes and things like that. Same with Tort. Volk is going to be boots in most matchups. Something like Dowshpun. You're also going to want a hazard stack on this team, right? You're going to want a stack. I don't think there's many opportunities in which you're going to want to defog. I'm also the guy who just won't draft removal because I think taking a turn to defog is a death sentence sometimes in Gen 9. There's also a slower metagame than standard, so that could be a little bit different here. But yeah, I get wanting to hit the checkboxes, but I think you have to kind of think about how your team's going to function in practice. I think this is our first 11 to 16 team. I don't think this is going to be our worst team, but I think it's a little bit of a step down from these ones. It has great qualities. And again, I really like the top two. Mienshao Braviary was a great start, and then Volcanion fits really well with them. So
yeah, it's just, and then like you don't really want to click default. You much rather have a spinner because you want to have your hazards up on their side as well.
I think that's the one like upside to having Aleki on this team. Is you might lose to the ground. You might lose to the ground, right? And setting up rocks.
But he will spin on the ground.
Yeah, you're always gonna get the spin off, right? You're always gonna get a spin off, and you can either boom and you think they're gonna EQ you, or you can just spam spin until you die. Yeah. Yeah,
there's like only one mod Aleki cannot spin on. Palisand. Oh, Golurk. Is Golurk in this game?
Golurk is in the game, I think. I'm like 90% sure Golurk's in the game.
Okay, so you got 2 mods.
And again, keep in mind too, when I'm ranking these teams, guys, this isn't based on how I think they're going to do the season. This is solely on their roster, right? I think it becomes a lot more arbitrary and a lot more like hard to rank teams when I'm like, well, this guy's a beast. I know Hunky's really fucking good, right? I know Hunky's a good ass player. I just think structurally, I'm not a big fan of his draft. This also coming from the guy who can't draft himself. And I consistently make semis and finals in all my leagues, but I'm terrible at drafting. My teams always suck. My team this season is not going to be a 1 through 5 team. All right, so something to keep him. Defog is cool in Hurricane Mons, yeah, but you're still a Talonflame, you know?
Yeah, you're a Talonflame. You suck.
You can't do damage to my little spam. So boom. Also,
your attack stat is like 80.
All right, guys, we have
your attack stat is less than a toad scroll.
Amoongus! The age-old Amoongus joke. Guys, we got 45 viewers, 28 likes. I just saw it go up one, so whoever did that, thank you. I appreciate you. You're the GOAT. Go ahead and drop a like on the stream. See if we get to 45 likes to 45 viewers. By the way, again, 45 viewers is crazy on a stream like this. Did not expect that at all. Thank you guys a ton. And again, remember, if we get 3 more members, we're going to go ahead and gift 5 more. So that's 8 total people who become a member on the OG Albino channel. We have a bunch of really fun little emotes and stuff like that. We have nice little fan favorite in Pack. We have our hype emoji, 8. Frigiback stare, and Big Snowy, my favorite one. There you go. So all those and a bunch of other perks if you want to go ahead and drop a like. And 49 viewers, oh my goodness. Dude, we might even peak 50? That's crazy.
Oh, I just realized drop their favorite OG Albino emoji in the chat, and I want to see like 30 packs appear.
Pack. And again, also you can join the Discord server and drop the pack emote in the pack chat. Be a part of the gang. There you go. Alrighty. We have Don Van Rate. Dawn Fan Rain. Next, Big
God.
Daniel. Big Daniel. Damn it, I keep clicking on the wrong one. Dude, people fuck with the Fridgeback Stare. That's a cute one. Alright, let's go ahead and pull it up. Do I have a good view on it? Let's move it over a little bit so we can see a little bit better. See Dawn Fan Rain in all its glory. We have Guard. Which I think Guard is like a top 5 to 10 mon in the format, right? This guy has no fucking switch. It is, when I think of low tier, I actually think of these two guys next to each other. Maybe it's because I started playing low tier in Gen 7 in Clash. Become a member or else. Tell him, Bick. Threaten him. Look at all those guys with the cool Mega Salamence next to them. They've been members for a minute. But when I think of low tier, I think of Heracross, Gardevoir, and I low-key think of Noivern as well. Maybe because I started playing low tier in Gen 7 when those were like metagame defining mons.
Noivern is a low tier mon. Because it's low tier.
Because he's ass. I hate him. No. I think Noivern's really good in low tier. No Noivern hate. Not in this chat. But I think Guard. Great pickup. I think if only this team had a Salazzle. So true, Keegan, you dick. I think that Scrafty is also one of the better Terramons drafted, which is really cool. I think the Donphan pick is kind of where this immediately got derailed. I am not big on round 2 Donphan. I understand it's a great spinner, but if you look at this team, do we really need to prioritize spin round 2? Do we really need to? Are we that hazard weak? I don't think we're hazard weak at all, actually. I really don't think we're hazard weak. But again, at this point, I'm like, okay, we can adjust. We have Guard, we have Donphan, then we have Politoed. And I think that's where I'm like, I think immediately the team was off the rails right there. This wasn't originally a round 4 Floatzel. D-Ray kind of like adjusted and made some post-draft transactions and things of the sort. But one, I think Politoed's really bad. I think the reason Rain is bounced in low tier is because, one, I banned a lot of top-end mons that can do it. Banned Basky Legions, and I banned Barraskewda. Overcloak can, but it's cost 17 points, and he didn't end up getting that, right? Damn, I joined 45 minutes. Better late than never, brother. Aren't your nightmares, I think. So I think that the issue is, one, the Rain Sweepers aren't great, right? Floatzel was one of the better ones. Ludi is one of the better ones.
Yeah, Floatzel and Ludi are good.
Keep in mind, they're also Terra banned, because I think the breakpoints at low tier, when these guys Terra water, is just a little unfair. So again, that's another just kind of metagame nerf on Rain. But the especially big reason is I think Politoed's a bad Pokemon. I understand it's here to facilitate the Rain, but I think it does a really bad job at doing so.
He's a frog.
I just don't. He's a cute guy, right? I love how cute he is. But the thing is it's so much of a momentum sucker. I think when you're trying to optimize the amount of turns in which you have in a draft league battle, when you're like trying to control the rain and, you know, your rain turns and things of the sort, I think when your rain setter has to set 2 different turns to get your rain sweeper in, and it's also implying that you're going to probably have to switch hard into said rain sweeper to get the maximum amount of turns, that's not great. Floatzel's not bulky. Ludi's not bulky. I mean, Ludi's bulky on the spit outside, but they're not like bulky Pokemon, right? So oftentimes we're going to have to get into other pivots in order to get into them, which is, one, going to cut into our rain turns, and on top of that, it's going to stress those mons. And on top of that, we don't have means of momentum on this team, really, right? We have Vikavolt, which I think is a good pickup on this team. I like Vikavolt here. U-turn Compe?
Links aren't working.
Links aren't working?
No, I post the links, but they aren't linked.
Oh, they aren't going through? And maybe it's like Nightbot moderating or something like that. Go check everybody out in the description below. It might be because they're not even popping up on my screen. So try that. But yeah, I think this team... I think if you're going to draft Politoed Rain, we need more means of getting into our Rain Sweepers. And I don't really see how that happens. I see Rain as an afterthought on this team. However, it ended up taking up our rounds 3, 4, and 5 slots. Now, I know D-Ray got sniped a lot in this draft, so a lot of the big Rain guys were taken, but I think that's why you don't commit to Rain in round 3. I don't think you commit to Rain in round 3.
You commit to Rain in like round 10.
Politoed's best friend is Zipon. I do agree, 100%. The only issue there is, again, we're still limiting our rain turns, because now we can't be Damp Rock, and that's only a one-time thing. The rest of the battle, it's going to be hard for Rain. So when your focus is Rain, and the team feels like it was kind of structured early to be Rain, and then kind of derailed a little bit, it's tough. There are other great bonds in this team, right? I love Weezing in low tier. I think having a ridiculous fighting resist like that is great. Like I said, I love the Terra Scrafty. My issue with Terra Scrafting this team is I think it's going to be forced into a lot of defensive Terra typings a lot, because one thing with this team I super noticed, there's not a single flying resist on it. And that is by far the best typing into this metagame. and there's rain. I'm hitting my hurricanes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the hurricanes are being hit.
My hurricanes are always connecting. So I think that's a little bit tough. I like Lax though. I like Vikavolt. Comfey is also just like one of those monsters you can Mickey snowball and just win the game, right? It totally can just do so. I think there are glimpses of great Pokemon, and there was an idea, but I think we just cannot commit to round 3 rain and not get the apt pieces after. And I think that really, really hurts this team. I think this is probably going to be our 16 team. I'm going to go ahead and put it in number 16 here. Again, Deere can totally pull out wins, right? You can win with suboptimal teams, but I don't know.
I'm glad you already put it there before we even talked about it.
Yeah, no, I just moved it over. I did it a little late. I keep moving it over on my other monitor and then coming back to show people on accident.
Okay,
so I need to time it a little bit better.
I thought you just did like first thing. Now let's talk about how bad.
Guard never clicks teleport. Comfey mostly has fast momentum. It's really just the Vikavolt. It's a great momentum grabber. But even then, Vika doesn't have Roost anymore, right? So it's not going to be around the whole game. You know, it's really not. And it's like a pseudo flying resist on this team. So I think that team is just going to be at 16. Yeah, and more means of getting into Gardevoir, too. Gardevoir does not like switching in hard on things. I feel like we're going to be playing a sack war with this team, but it doesn't have the oomph to really get through that, especially when we're bringing a lot more passive Pokemon like Politoed. That's basically going to be coming in to die. Like, that's his whole thing. So, yeah. Definitely, again, I think he can snag some, but I don't think it's the most optimal build to do so. He's just going to have to fight through it and find some positions, right?
Hey man, he grabbed Cloyster at the end there.
Hey, that guy can Mickey. That guy can always Mickey. Big Shell Smash up and win. And then it makes those mixed Cloyster sets even more threatening, like Hydro Pump in the rain. I think the mixed Icicle Spear, Hydro Pump, Rock Blast sets makes it really scary. All right, next up we have Jacob.
He does die to Thundershock, but you know.
Hey, don't take Thundershock. Next up we have Jacob and his Green Bay Pikachu's my week 1 opponent. Let's go ahead and find this one real quick. I know he's pretty early. Ooh.
Did you give him an early draft pick?
Yeah, I gave him on purpose. Just for Jacob.
Suicune.
Just for Jacob. Alright, so Jacob has Suicune, Cyclizar, Clodsire, Sylveon, Emboar, Yanmega, Registeel, Decidueye, Espeon, Golem and Shiftry. Positives to this team, I think that the balanced defensive core of Suicune, Clodsire, Sylveon, Registeel, and then accent pieces like Cyclizar, Decidueye, it's a really hard team to break through, which is interesting. I don't think this is the best metagame for a team like that, and I think this team is a little hazards weak. Obviously with Cyclizar and Decidueye's great removal options, which is solid, but again, I'm of the firm belief that if we're forcing ourselves into removing a lot of turns, especially on a more defensive team like this, it might get a little out of hand a little fast. But I think how defensive this team is, and this balance core, I'm gonna swing Tiro with Cloyster. Sure, he just said it was good. Why are you getting him? He said it was a good mon. What's up, DJ?
I did say you beat it with Thundershock. Yeah, I want to see you do it. I want to see you try to sweep with the Cloyster D, right? I want to see you try.
Tiro's got hella Thundershock on his team.
Bro, my Galvantula is going to outspeed a +2 Cloyster and destroy it.
True, he's running Scarf. He just told you. You heard it here first. Magic Bounce and Espeon. Yeah, I barely count that as a Magic Bounce monster. I'll be 100% honest. Especially with no Terra. That guy is not switching in on my ground type setting up rocks. Because he's just going to take 80% from Earthquake. Right? It's like Mega Diancie being a Magic Bounce mon. You have to be super, super aggressive with it. Another positive, though. I think that Yanmega is probably one of the better Terra captains allowed. He got it really late, which is awesome. The thing's a huge set. Believe me, in prepping for that thing week 1, it is so unbelievably strong. That one's ridiculously strong. I also love Emboar in low tier. Its speed tier is pretty ass, but if it does get that speed jump or it lives a hit and is able to throw off attack, you're probably dying. There's nothing that switches into Emboar in this metagame. So we do have, despite having a really strong balance core, we have 2 breakers on the physical and the special side that are going to just nuke something every single time they come in. Suicune also, I don't know if I would have picked it this early. I think if this was Suicune in an old gen, for sure. The only issue with Suicune now is I think losing Toxic made it really bad. Because now it's really only Calm Mind sets and Roar sets. We don't have that option for Toxic Protect, Subtoxic anymore. So it makes checking it a little bit more straightforward, but it is a Pokemon that can 100% just kind of whittle down and bully its own checks, especially with all the hazards and Wish Pass and, keeping healthy that we have on this team. I think that Suicune can super snowball a bunch of teams. I think this is a little early for it, though. I think there's much better models on the board. I think this was a second pick in the draft. So really, really early Suicune. But if you feel comfortable with it, and you know that you can get past some Wi-Fi guys with it, I think it's a totally valid pick. I think beyond that, though, I think I struggle with just kind of the general structure of this, like, hard semi-stall / balance. Like, would I be tripping if I considered this, like, semi-stall?
No, I can see it. Yeah, it's very, very, very based on
like maybe a little bit more offensive a semi-stall to balance, right? And when I say semi-stall, again, very often on those semi-stall teams in like Gen 7 when the playstyle was popular, it'd be stall with a fucking Hoopa. This is, damn near stall with the Yanmega and Emboar, right? Two strong breakers that can force progress. And I think that's better than just like hard stall in Gen 9. I think hard stall in Gen 9 is like not viably possible to run. But in general, I think it's a bit passive, and there are a few mons that I think are not good in Gen 9. I really don't like Registeel. I think Registeel is always a liability as a Pokemon, and I don't think it was ever really needed here. Maybe as a Fairy Resist, but I feel like there might have been better ways to go. And we still have Clodsire as a great Fairy Resist, right? It's either offensive semi-stall or like a very, very bulky balance, yeah. So I think like the playstyle is not well suited to the gen. I don't think that the team is structured terribly. I'm just not big on the structure. So because of that, I don't think I can rank it super low, but I think this is definitely a 6 to 10 team, and I think it's on the lower end of the 6 to 10. What do you think?
I think their early round picks were really bad, but they made up for it in the mid rounds when they got M4 plus Yanmega. Like, I do not rate Cyclizar without Terra.
That's I didn't even mention that. Yeah, that's really fucking early for Cyclizar.
It's like, that's non-Terra Cyclizar, and
now,
all it's going to do is going to be like a spin U-turn bot.
When he drafted this in round 2, I was like, oh, it's going to be his Terramon. This is a nice Terramon. I think Cyclizar in low tier with Terra is actually really strong because it becomes super offensive in the way that it's played.
Even in Clash, it was underwhelming. From what it was like, I was expecting so much more, and it disappointed. So, like, I still don't rate it that high.
It is also very ground weak, Snore. I noticed that in week 1, I don't even have a very offensive ground. I have Pilot Spine. The only thing that takes on a Suicune, which does not have any means of reliable recovery. Other than that, I could just click Earthquake against the team. I think this is probably a 6 to 10 team. I think it's probably going to end up being our number 10 team. Is my
like, I can see
thought.
it dropping to 11 to 16 as well, depending on the other teams.
Yeah, we'll see.
He got Yanmega, but he did make up the Cyclizar pick with Yanmega. So now Yanmega can run specs, and Cyclizar is probably the best spinner.
Oh, 100%. Okay. Next up, what do we have? We have Helsinki Hydreigons and Vepsis here. Let's see. Go ahead and jump over. Find the squad. There's the squad. I just gotta get over a little more. There we go. Oh, it's like cut off. That's so weird. Oh well. So, Vepsis, round 1. Armourouge dipped down, but I think it's a viable... Did Crocodile get drafted? Crocodile did get drafted, I think, in about 4 or 5. But we'll get there when we get to Keegan. He has Crook. I wish I had Crook. That's my boy. I would ride or die for him. Armourouge, which I think is an early drop down, but I think it's a valid one, right? I think this guy with Terra is really, really strong. I think without Terra, it's kind of ass. But with Terra, with Terra, I think it becomes really strong. And then immediately we saw the plan. We see a Halucha go, and we're like, oh shit, somebody getting DD. Nobody's gonna draft in DD unless you're drafting for Psy Spam, right? Or like this Psychic Terrain offense. So obviously Vepsis secured round 3, which I think is smart. I think this is the opposite of what D-Ray did and why D-Ray struggled. This would be like the equivalent of him drafting Indeedee and then the Psychic Spam guys, right? But he drafted the core. Nobody else really wants this guy because the things that it would accent well with are gone. So it stays on the board. Got it round 3. Which I think is like, again, it's early. You're getting an 8-point mon round 3. But I think that's fine. We have a solid pivot in Mandibuzz, which is really going to help with opposing Psy Spam, which I think is also really important, right? You have resists in Indeedee Armourouge, but they're not sturdy. They're not sticking around for a long time, especially Armourouge. You don't want to switch it in, and it's going to be tearing out of that type. Your Psychic Resist is Indeedee, right? So getting something that immediately takes those on well is great. Also getting solid Defog for Armourouge is great. The only thing is you have to be careful about defogging while you're on terrain. So, quick, gotta be OG after this finals match. True, Keegan. When am I getting my nickname? When am I getting my nickname? But beyond that, Gastron, I like the roll compression that Gastro offers. It gives Roxanne spikes. His team was hazardless up to this point. So that really, really helps out. And we end up getting another one similar to that in Colossal later, which I also think is a really solid low tier pick. Gudra in like round, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think is fucking incredible. I think Gudra is debatably a round 1 or 2 Mon. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it's because I'm the Hisuian Gudra guy, which I do think is better as a Mon. But I think Gudra is incredible in low tier. It has always been good. It does not die. It does not have switch-ins. Its speed tier is actually pretty solid. It retained Toxic, which is awesome. It got Knock and Scald. Like, I think this Mon is a great, great glue piece on this team. Just as that, you know, especially defensive tank to come in, take strong special hits, and go from there. Let's Mandibuzz play a little bit more of that Fizz Def role as well, which I really, really like. Rev is a 10-point steal. Not the best Mon in the world without Terra, but it's decent enough, right? Can parting shot around. It's going to set up T-Spikes on this team, I think, a lot more so than like that shift gear win con type thing. But it's also a Mon that appreciates terrain being up in the sense that we're not going to get picked off by stray, stray priority moves and things like that once we set up those shift gears. I love Inteleon in this metagame, especially because it gives a reliable speed tier over 115. We had Hawlucha, but Hawlucha very often is going to be sitting in the back. It's going to be running adamant, bulkier sets to SD up and win with that Psychic Seed. Inteleon in low tier, when I had it in, what do you call it? The low tier tour in Smogon, it was incredible. I was running boots, like taunt sets every week. I was U-turning around, peppering things down with snipe shots and things of the sort, and go from there. Hey man, hope the draft's going well and you're having a good day. Thank you. We are having a great day. I appreciate you popping in and saying what's up. I hope you're having a good one too. I feel like Gudra, people think it's underwhelming until they fight and prefer both Gudras are really good in draft, in my opinion. Yeah, I think they're a little bit worse in standard, but I think they actually got a lot better this gen. I love Motom. I think it really helps with the water problem on this team. We had Gasser to pivot into them, but Gasser doesn't do anything, right? Whereas Motom is going to be ult round. It also really helps out with Inteleon. I think it's a solid momentum core. And then Sableye is going to give us our fighting resist, and Colossal gives us our solid flying resist as well. On top of things like Breveroom and Rotom pressuring it. I really like this team. What do you think, Tiro?
I love this team. I really love the first 3 picks, even if they're like all lower tiers. That honestly, I think once they got Armor Rouge plus Hawlucha, they could have waited until like round 12 or round whatever for Indeedee, because who wants Indeedee without Armor Rouge and Hawlucha?
I think it was just precognitive. They knew how Deer's draft was going to go, and they're like, I'm not letting that happen to me.
Yeah, that type of thing. So, like, this is how you're supposed to draft, like, especially when you're drafting, like, weather or, like, certain, like, this is size spam. When you're drafting, like, those certain aspects of draft, you always want to draft the setter last, because once you draft the abusers, no one's going to want to draft the setter, because that's just waste of points. So I love how they did that. And I love how Mandibuzz really helps with, like, taking on the stuff that would want to take advantage of the psychic terrain he's going to set for his own team. Gudra's amazing special bulk, just to take hits and deal hits back. The only issue I have is it's kind of weak to ground spam. You have Rotom Mow and Mandibuzz as the immunities. But outside of that, you like Mandibuzz is going to come in, tank a random Stone Edge, takes like 40%, has to use a Roost turn, and allows a momentum to go to your opponent. And then
Rotom is the sturdiest thing.
Yeah, it's not that like bulky overall. It's just going to take a lot from like a random stray hit the ground type wants to click. But outside of that, I really love this team. I would definitely say it's a top 5 team.
Oh, for sure, I agree. Something that Halpert pointed out in chat is that there is no fairy, which is a little tough, but I do feel like Armor is going to tear fairy a lot, though. It typically does in general. But yeah, the
Armor is just a fairy type.
There's not a lot of fairies in this format in general, so I think it's hard to tick that box. As long as you have the things that your fairies are going to check, like the defensive, profile and things like that, which is a little lacking. I feel like Sableye has a lot of pressure on it as a 4-point mod, but I still think it's great. I don't know where I want to put this, if I want to put this Thomas or Vepsis. I'm leaning Vepsis at above Thomas now. I think it's pretty close, at least me personally. I think I would put it
above Thomas. Personally.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. The tiebreaker is gonna be you, because you were saying that you like this team a little bit more. I could tell you like this team a little bit more, so we'll put it above for now, because I'm very torn on it. I think both are really good. But yeah. All right.
Don't worry. The team is weak to Dragouge. Who has Dragouge?
That's so true. So true. All right. Next up, damn it, I keep clicking on the wrong one. Next up, we have Addison in her London Shockwave. Last pick was going to be a Farrier Sableye, low tier Farrier Rough. Yeah, it's better to get a mon you're actually going to use, right? Sableye has more niche application, so I think that's a better pick than getting like a obviously like no Fairy is annoying, but like, do you really have a Fairy if you're drafting Hattrem? You know, and that's kind of where it ends up going to.
Isn't Hattrem just pure Psychic?
Apparently, so you don't have a Fairy if you have Hattrem. I lied. Where is Addison's team? Oh, there it is. Look at that.
Found it.
There we go. If you want to force a Fairy on the team, they can pick up Fairy, but I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine as well. I think it's super fun. Alright. We got Addison here with the London Shockwave. Grabbing round 1 Blastoise, or round 1 Raikou, not round 1 Blastoise. It would be really bad if that was the case. Blastoise, Terra Mesprit, which I think is low-key one of the better Terramons. I really thought about drafting it on my team, but I realized the way I would use it would be a lot more defensively, and I don't want to mute, as Kaz told me when I was drafting, you don't mute your Mesprit, because I don't want to bring rocks and Healing Wish and shit. I'd rather my Terramon be a little bit more threatening, but I think on this team it has a lot more room to be a lot more versatile in what it's doing. We have Grimmsnarl, which sets up some pretty nasty screens and got some pretty nice momentum. I actually do like the screens aspect for something like a Calm Mind Raikou. Then we have Staraptor, really, really strong Mon offensively. I think it's one of the better Mons, fly spam-wise, in the tier. 15 points for a reason. This thing's going to include Scarf Brave Bird, and it's going to smoke. Or it's going to grab nice U-turns. Plus, the things that Staraptor doesn't appreciate, Arcanine deals with somewhat. Or something like Blastoise is going to deal with, which is nice. And again, the screens aspect is also nice for the likes of Blastoise setting up Shell Smashers, which is pretty cool. Caparajah, 6 points. I'm actually a big Caparajah believer. I think that guy is super, super awesome as a fairy, or as a low-tier steel. Really strong, solid rocker. Gets knock now, which is actually a really cool aspect to it. Gligar plus Blastoise is very cool hazard control and momentum core. I don't think Gligar gets defog anymore, but it does get spikes, which is a good spiker for this team. I think in low tier especially, it's going to be a great U-turn pivot. Staraptor felt like PU today, Sass. Well, that's why it's in low tier, because Smogon and Draft are the same. Hitmonlee Thwackey is like a fun little core. I don't know if I like Hitmonlee, though. I think that a more consistent fighting...
Man just hates all the Hitmons.
No, I like Hitmonchan, actually. Hitmonchan's fire.
Of all of it, you like the worst one?
No, he's cool. He's cool. I fuck with him. He's always super cheap. That's why I like him. He's mad cheap.
Oh my god.
He's mad cheap. Flacky. And then we have Gligar and Muck, which I think Muck is an absolute demon. I think it's a great lower tier mon. I think the biggest issue with me, and it might be me being a hater, I think that...
Why do you have Muck at 4?
That guy's dope. He's so fire. He's so good. Raikou. I'm not a big Raikou guy at all. Also, we just hit 50 viewers. Holy shit! If you haven't, drop a like on the stream. And if we get 3 more members, we're gonna get 5. 5 of you, that means 8 of you lucky 51 potentially can get a membership to the OG Albina YouTube channel, which is big. Absolutely massive, in fact. So if we get 3 more gifties. But my big thing with this team is I am not big on Raikou. I'm not big on Raikou at all. In my opinion, I think the best Raikou sets of the past were Subtoxic. I really do think so. And I think losing that option is really tough. We kept Scald for grounds, which is big. It keeps this guy from being Jolteon, but worse, right? Really, really helps out. Being able to hit the grounds is super clutch. The only issue is we're still stuffed by grasses. We're still stuffed by dragons. And grounds don't die to Scald. They don't die to them. They're not as easily switching in, and they don't want to get burned. But we're not really forcing the progress they want. I think that Raikou is actually never really viably going to run Calm Mind in a generation like this if your opponent is prepping well. I think you're going to Volt around, you're going to Scald early and really scare that ground from wanting to come in, and you need to get up hazards and Volt. And I think if it's used that way, it is going to be great. I just don't want Addison to fall in the trap of running sub Calm Mind Raikou because it's not going to do what you want. Now, maybe in low tier 2, not as many dragons, not as many grasses, whatever it might be. But I'm not big on it as like a top tier, top end mon. Personally, I actually really like and as good of a player as I think Addison is, I personally like Panthers team a little bit more. So I think this is a 6 through 10 team.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest. I know you love Mesprit as a Terramon. I don't love Mesprit as a Terramon. I always see Mesprit as like a U-turn I think it more of like a support mon than I think of it as an offensive mon. It did get access to mystical power now, which makes it so much better. But
and it can nasty plot and stuff like that. And I think with Terra, it becomes really strong offensively.
It's just I don't view it as like a great Terramon. I think there's always better Terramons to mess with around that you can take. I think it's like as a support mon, it's amazing. Like especially for this team, like Healing Wish support for Blastoise or for Staraptor, especially for Staraptor.
Yeah, because it's gonna be coming in, clicking Brave Bird. Yeah, I mean it's definitely gonna Healing Wish a lot. And I think Raikou is a fine pick, Noya. I think Raikou is fine. I think there are definitely mons after it I would have taken instead. I would have taken Heracross, Gardevoir. I would have probably taken Entei. I would have taken Gudra. But I think it's a valid round 1 pick. I'm just personally not the biggest fan. Personally, I'm a bit iffy on it. Should have drafted a Bombstone to get Raikou rather balls. That actually would have been a cool aspect to it. I think that would have been a cool one. Especially because I don't think Thwacky Hitmonlee is great. I think it seems very gimmicky. And I'm not one for gimmicky modes. But
yeah, if they had Terra Hitmonlee with Thwacky, I would respect that. I'm like, you know what? I respect
Big Terra Hitmonlee. Alrighty. Next up, we have Tone. We are getting, how many more teams do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we gotta start moving through here a little bit. Alright. We have Big Tone in his Miami Palafins. Now, obviously, the benefit to this is he found tiering mistake number 2 is I forgot to put a note that Venomoth can't Terra. And before anybody screams, why can Venomoth Terra but Frostmoth can't? It's because I forgot. Alright? I didn't see it. And Tone took advantage of that, and that's on me. Like, it's not on Tone. Like, I couldn't retroactively ban it because he drafted in round 4. I'm not gonna bone him like that. Picks had already happened in the draft after, so he got a freaking steal. By far the best Terramon in the league, and he got it for 8 points. So big up to Tone for that. I do think that other than this, I think that the team is a little bit mediocre. I'm not big on round 1 Swampert. Okay. I think it is a big waste of round 1. I'm back before my team was ranked. Let's freaking go, baby. Yeah, I'm not big. Oh, I don't even have them on the screen. Sorry, guys.
There we go. It's like I don't know what the team is. I can't say if it's good or not.
Yeah, I'm not big on Pert. I do love Moltres. I think it might have been a little bit early for Moltres. My big thing is outside of that Venomoth, which is like pretty much the centerpiece of this team, right? Because of that tiering mistake. I don't see any mon other than Veno that I'm going, oh shit, how I deal with that? You know?
Yeah,
I moved it over, guys. There's delay, I promise.
Yeah, it's delay. It's a very, very, very long delay. Don't worry about it.
I didn't know that. Maybe I'll have to adjust that, but I'm also going to do DPL Sunday stream, so maybe I don't want to adjust the delay. But yeah, I'm not big on Pert. I think that Pert was really, really early. I think this team lacks that immediate, oh shit, something on my team dies mon. Moltres can't really fill that role. Hatterene cannot either. There's a lot of solid defensive synergy. I really would have liked, again, some spikes on this team. Or I guess Frostless is a solid one. No, I take that back. Frostless is solid. Frostless is a good spiker. I'm not a big Zoroark guy. Again, a very gimmicky mon. Maybe you can do some funny stuff with Venomoth, but I really don't see any neutral attacks that Zoroark would take that Venomoth wouldn't, and vice versa, you know? It's not like they complement each other well defensively, especially because you're going to kind of have to run Boot Zoroark if you want that combination to really work, or like a Moltres combination to really work, really anything, right? Because your whole team is taking different amounts of hazards, really. Pert resists them 4 times weak, resists, weak. I mean, really, you can only, like, disguise Zoroark early game as mons that take neutral rocks, or you have to be Boots, or it has to be like on the lead.
It's like there isn't really any mons here that Zoroark would want to disguise as. Like just like Hitmonchan, like I could disguise as Hitmonchan, but then the Hitmonchan takes 6% from rocks and Zoroark's taking 12, so that's you're kind of having forced to run Boots. So I just like if disguise as the Dunsparce, I'm clicking Fighting Move either way. It's something is taking a lot of hit, a lot of power. If the Dunsparce dies, like, oh, it was a Zoroark, that type of thing. So it doesn't really help Zoroark here at all. I rate the Magneton pick though.
Yeah, I think it's a solid low tier mom. Yeah.
As like a steel trapper for the Venomoth, as like the big issue with Venomoth is it still can't really touch steel types, and it's kind of forced to run like Terra types that could touch steel types. Getting Magneton could really help trap those steel types so that,
or at least chip them into range of that Tinted Lens boosted Bug Buzz, right? Like, it's probably not going to beat a lot of them, but, like, if I come with my Magaton and I trap X Steel type and I get off a Specs Thunderbolt or a Modest Scarf Thunderbolt, you might be in range, you know? Like, of a +1 hit.
It's just, it's range for the Venomoth in the later game, so I really
I think this team is very Venomoth reliant, and I don't think that's a terrible thing, right? I think the one's super broken with Terra. But I think that is the one mode I'd be scared of. Other than that, I mean, like, this is a really early Lycanroc. This is a really early Hitmonchan. Like, it's a really early Moltres and Hatterene. I feel like everything was drafted 1 round ahead of time, or 1 or 2 rounds ahead of time, potentially.
I can see Hatterene. I think Hatterene's fine where it's at.
And 11, maybe it's a Hatterene hitter. I think this is going to be another 11 through 16 team. Now, I don't know if I think I like Hunky more, or if I like Tone more. What do you think?
Can you re-show Hunky's team again?
I can. Oop. Alright, hold on. Scuff set up. There you go.
Alright. Oh yeah, he's got the Talon Flame.
I think I like Hunky's team more because I like the top 2 more.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
I appreciate assuming Braviary.
I like the Mienshao, the Braviary, like, and they're also similar in the sense that, like, they found the steals on the board, like the misses by the admin team. They took advantage of them, drafted them, and drafted around them pretty decently. And I really like Mienshao, Braviary, Volcanion. Love that combo. But I think Huggy seems a little bit better, personally. I think it has a little bit more immediate pressure outside of that Mistake Mon that they drafted. I think that Tone's team is a little bit mid in that regard.
Yeah.
Alright. We have Big Amel next. And this is always a fun one to rank, because with Amel, he doesn't typically draft standard teams that are going to be very conventionally rated, right? He might draft some wacky shit, and it might be not very good on paper, but he's probably going to go 11-0. So again, keep in mind when you're ranking this team, I'm ranking nothing about you as a player, but I'm just ranking your draft. And Amel's team is interesting, and it starts off with some really fun stuff, right? Alright, hold on. I gotta make sure this looks good. Okay, it does.
Oh, it has a gold.
Gotta go for it. Have a good one. Been fun analyzing a bit. I have a good one, Noy. I appreciate you being active and hanging out in chat. Thank you. I think still like his super, those ground punishes. Yeah, but it doesn't really punish them. That's my issue. Alright, Amel. We have Cleavor, Superior, Bellybolt, Monkey Dory, Regigigas with Terra, Incineroar, Arboliva, Golduck for some fucking reason, Golurk.
Bro, Golduck is amazing.
Lucario, and Glaceon. I didn't know we had a big Golduck fan in the chat. Absolutely huge.
Wait. That Golduck is there specifically for the D-Ray team.
Hey, guess who he plays week 1?
D-Ray in shambles.
Guess who he plays week 1?
Exactly.
Big.
That Golduck about to go off.
Smoked, you're gonna get Swiss-swammed. I think Cleavor is really strong in low tier, right? I love the U-turns it grabs. Offensive rocker that just sets it up by attacking, which is great. And there's not a lot of great steals. And we also have a great steel punisher. And both Incineroar to a lesser extent, because some of them can outspeed and hit it hard. But Lucario. I think Lucario is really solid. Getting it this late is also really good. I think in low tier, Lucario is really strong. Without Terra, because it's Terra banned. But still strong. I like Monkey Dory, another mon that really grabs great momentum in Lucario. You would have thought Lucario was an early round pick, the way this team was kind of drafted around Lucario thriving and doing well. Bellybolt, really early Bellybolt. I think if he was going to tear it, then sure. Really freaking early Bellybolt. But still a great mon.
Hey man, we're not even going to talk about the round 5 Regigigas.
Hey, we'll get there. We're only around 3 and 4 right now. Belly, I think, is a solid flying resist too, which is nice when your rock doesn't resist flying, and your steel doesn't resist flying. So I think Bellybolt's actually really good defensively on a team like this. Again, you would have thought that he drafted round 2 Lucario with how this team turned out. I think Serp can super overwhelm a lot of teams, despite not being able to Terra here and not having any coverage. I think you could just Leaf Storm down a ton of these builds. Really, really, really solid. Regigigas early. There's no explanation. It's just Amel. You know, he's doing his thing. I couldn't give you an explanation other than he fucks with Regigigas and he wanted to try out Terra Reggie. It is free Terra, so he can do some fun stuff. It does have Rest and Protect now, which is cool. Can Reggie get nerfed this gen? I don't think so. I think it just didn't get buffed. I think it got buffed this gen because it got Protect and... No, that was last gen. It got Protect and Rest. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a wacky pick. I can't lie to you, but I don't really have a good justification. I think he just really wanted to use it. You know what? That's valid. I think that's valid.
I just really want Regigigas.
There's some fun aspects to this team, and I think it's going to take a really creative builder to do well with it. Thankfully, Anal is that creative builder, but I don't think I can, in good conscience, put this team in 6 through 10. Despite I know Amel is him, I think that this team has to go in 11 to 16. It's a little wacky. There's some things about this one.
I rate the draft. Outside of the Monkey Dory and Regigigas picks, I rate the draft. I do not like Monkey Dory. I think Monkey Dory is garbage in anything it will ever try.
He's just got a big forehead. Yeah, he is a Regigigas.
Arboliva is... I love Arboliva. He is one of my favorite mons to draft in any tier. Standard, low tier, whatever. Arboliva is amazing. So I love that pick.
Very, very cool.
He picked Arboliva. That's all that matters.
Does Regigigas get toxic? I do not think so. No, not this gen. Alright, we have Obo and his Brian Hands team. Absolutely massive. It's time for Brian Hands. I gotta switch over the tabs so we can see Big Brian. I think it's like
unironically took it round 1.
I think it's like pick 4. Pick 3.
Yeah, unironically took it round 1.
Hey, Big Brian Hands. Now I get it. He really wanted to use it. I think Obo caught enough glaze in the coach chat, and enough jokes in the coach chat. He really likes it. Do I think that Iron Thorns is a round 1 pick?
No.
No. I don't. I really don't think it's a great pick.
Is there a round 2 pick? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I think the issue is if he drafted this later in the round, then maybe we could get behind it. He really wants to use it. He has 13th pick. He doesn't want to get sniped on the wheel. Whatever. But she had look at the one that went after you. Crook is there. And
yeah,
if you just swap Crook and Iron Thorns on this team, the team becomes infinitely better, right?
You give the Terra to was Araquanid Terra banned or was it allowed?
I think it was allowed. I'm not sure.
Give the Terra to Araquanid. Boom. So there you go.
Now, I like the next 2 picks. I think Dirge is a great check to a lot of physical threats in this tier. Again, especially those offensive fightings. You don't want to get knocked as much, but that's just every fighting in general, right? So I don't think it's the end of the world. Glade is a monster in this tier. I think Glade is the best mod on this team, and he got it in round 3. So that's obviously really, really cool. I'm not a big Fori guy, though. I'm a big Fori hater. As someone who's drafted Fortress multiple times, I'm a big, big Fori hater. I think that guy's a little bit tough. And Amorous can definitely Mickey some games. And I think, and again, if we were Trick Room, is Araquanid Terra banned? I gotta check this. It is not. Dude, if we were Araquanid, and we were Trick Rooming with our Enam into it, dude, imagine the Terra Waters on that thing in this tier. It's a nuke. I think that Cinchino is also a cool option. This guy also could Terra, and I think he would have been a very, very cool Terra captain. I think that my main gripe with this team is that round 1 pick. I think it had so much potential otherwise.
Yeah.
I also don't think the Furgraph makes any sense. I don't know why we have Furgraph.
Well, I mean, it's the secondary Trick Room center.
Yeah, every niche role that Frigg really offers, I see covered somewhere else. Also, Trode is another great Terra. There's 4 mons on this team that love Terra, and we're kind of taking it up with Big Brian Hands, and I don't know how I feel about that. Tandakon is a good low tier ground. I don't think this team is inherently terrible on paper. I think fastest mon Cinchino is kind of tough because it kind of forces us to bring Cinchino a lot, and that guy's not great without Terra, in my opinion, even with the buffs. I think this team is 11 through 16. I think it's probably a little bit better than Hunky's, but I don't think it's a 6 through 10 team.
I can stand that. I can stand with that. And you took round 4 Fortress. What were you thinking?
Round 4.
You took a mon that dies to Ember in round 4.
It do be dying to Ember. All right. Next up, there's so many good Trode including. That's what I mean. I keep clicking on just random things. All right. So we have Obo here at currently 11. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We still have 1 more room. Alright. Wish pass here, slow pivot prig. It's cool. I guess, but what are you wishing into? I don't know. I maybe it's because I don't value the wish. I guess you're wishing into, muck and things of the sort. Yeah, it's not terrible. Okay. Next up, we have Keegan in the Olympic Flygon, 16. Next up, we have Viz. No, just kidding. Next up, we got Viz, our Keegan. Let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, it's literally right next to us. Beautiful. Oh, yeah, we were literally just talking about this team. So you have Crook, Uxie, Empoleon, Okidogi, Terra Iron Leaves, Tauros, Drago, which I think is a super cool mon, especially with this team. Salazzle, RIP D-Ray, for real. Mimikyu, who's terrible,
For real.
but then some great low point value in both Ampharos and Cloth. I think...
Okay, I will give you a low point value with Ampharos.
Cloth is fire. No, Cloth is fire, dude. Don't sleep on Cloth. I'm telling you, Cloth is fire. Dude, regen sets are great. Mickey Anger Shell sets are great. I actually really like Cloth, and I really like this team. I think this is a team contender for number 1.
Hey, I like the team too. I mean, I don't rate Yuxi as high as other people do. I think Mesprit is better for its point value, but I still think Yuxi's a good
It's a great pick here too. Again, I love Crook. I think Crook is going to be so insane here. Whether it be like Scarf Moxie sets or like the bulk up cheesy variants like the one ran in BDR, or just like rocks 3 attacks. Nothing switches into this guy. It outspeeds a lot of the metagame at 92 because it's not a super fast meta. It's one of the better Scarfies, and it just doesn't have an answer. It really does not.
This team suffers the exact same thing that my team does. Once you tear the Iron Leaves, you're dying to Earthquake.
Yeah, there's no fucking ground resist at all. Now, again, it also, like, your team has some immunities. Or I guess it's really just Uxie. There's a lot of pressure on Uxie and not a way to keep it healthy. So that's definitely a downside to it, 100%. That's a very, very good call. I think fastest mon Salazzle is also a little tough. Not that Salazzle is bad, but I don't know how often it's coming, right? So I feel like very often the way this team is going to control the speed game is going to be after burning that booster on Iron Leaves. Which isn't the worst, but yeah, this is my favorite team so far. No removal. Yeah, the no removal is a little tough as well. But again, this is also a team. No, actually, I think the no removal.
He drafted Salazzle to spike D, right?
Yeah, dude, fuck your Salazzle Rain. You're stuck with Donphan right now. No spikes is also tough, right? There's no spikes in this team. I don't think there's any spikes in this team. There's great rocks, right? There's rockers up the ass.
Oh, he has perfect rockers.
Yeah. Uxie, Empo, Cloth is even a good rocker. Crook is great if you need to. But I also like the fact that Crook never needs to rock on this team, which is really fun. It can, and it's a great one at that, but it doesn't need to. I think Iron Leaves is debatably one of the best Terra captains we had too, so great Terra choice from him there. I think Okidogi is also ridiculously strong in a metagame like this. The thing doesn't die. It's so strong. This team might be bottom 1. I was thinking, I had him there originally, but the chat has come back. I don't think Salazzle gets T-Spikes, unless it got it this gen. I haven't played Salazzle this gen, I'll be honest with you. They give T-Spikes? Oh, that's cool.
Is I've played it and I've used it. It's still a Salazzle.
It does have T-Spikes? Yeah, I think no removal and the ground resist are going to kind of hold us back from being a number 1 team. I think it's a debate of this versus Thomas's team, for me. And I don't know which one I like more. I am kind of leaning Thomas at the moment. But I also... I think Thomas's team is much more well-rounded. I think Keegan's peaks are a lot higher, though, on this build. Tauros is a great low-tier mon.
He drafted, like, mega offense without the spikes.
Yeah, I think I would love to have a spiker here. See if there's, like, a Mimikyu swap that we can get a spiker for, because that guy's ass.
Yeah, drop the Mimikyu. Mimikyu sucks.
But I love Empoleon and low tier. Great flying resist as well. And I really like Oki a lot. But Mimikyu is also really big to kind of take some pressure off of Uxie in those offensive fighting matchups. Like, you can run those, like, Mickey helmet or red card eject button sets and stuff like that and get into your offense, which is nice. I think I'm going to put Keegan at 3.
3? I could see that.
I think I'm going to put Keegan at 3. I think I like Thomas' team a little bit better. I think this is still by far one of the best teams on the board. But what are the top tier ground types? Crook. There's a lot of grounds, though. There's a lot of grounds in the metagame. We'll see when we release the doc here in a little bit. But yeah, I think spikes would have been great on this team. And better ground resist is the main reason that I think that Thomas is just a little bit better. Yeah, maybe it's just because E button a red card. Yeah, don't run Source. I think Keegan knows that, though. Keegan's not going to run SD play rough, like, life orb sets. In 90% of matchups, at least. Alrighty, next up, we have...
Keegan would be struggling against ground types.
Oh, I gotta show Big Keegan on board. There he is. Big Keegan, right here. Number 3 at the moment. I like the team a lot. I think its peaks are a lot higher than most teams. I think that there's just a few things that I'm not super big on it. It's going to make pivoting around some threats a little bit annoying. Alrighty. Next up, what do we have? We have Big Viz here. Oop, I got to move it over a little bit. There we go. Alright, on Viz side, we have Prim Overquill, Rhyperior, Jolteon, Breloom, Articuno Galar, Gyarados, Duraludon, Poltergeist, Ursaring, Anti-Flosion. There's another team where I feel like a lot of the guys wanted Terra. Really just, I guess just Rhyperior, Jolteon, and Articuno really would have appreciated Terra. Even Breloom, I think, could be a really cool sleeper Terramon. That guy seems really strong with Terra. I think the other guys would be better, though. I don't dislike this team. I don't know what my biggest gripe is with it. It just feels a little bit, I don't know, is it just underwhelming? I think Prim is a solid round 1, especially towards his back wheel. Quill is going to set up great spikes. Maybe it's that I really want Terra Rhyperior, and I think Terra Jolteon is incredibly overrated.
Wait, didn't you ban Terra Rhyperior?
No, because I almost drafted it.
Oh. Oh yeah, because I guess.
And when I see round 3 Rhyperior, I think Terra, personally. I'm not big on Jolteon. I think that this team...
Oh, I love Terra Jolteon.
I think it's very mid. I think it's very mid.
I think it is the best Terra evolution.
The team has... Okay, I mean, I guess, like, another thing, too, 100 to 130 speed gap, yeah, it's a little tough. It's a little bit of a jump.
But to be fair, it's low, too.
We also have iffy response in the ground. I feel like something like Gyarados is going to be forced defensive very often. And grounds are going to be really prevalent in the team that has Overcool, Rhyperior, and Jolteon. Even if Jolteon is Terra Ice, grounds are going to check it with Yachis and AVs and things like that. And they're just going to look at Earthquake / mid-ground Stone Edges. And I think Gyarados is very often going to be forced into a defensive role because this team does not have real ground resist. Breloom doesn't count. I know it resists Edgequake, but unless you're running Fizz Def Breloom sets, you're not checking them. And even then,
and why are you running
Fizz
Def Breloom sets?
Yeah, that's what I mean. And like for example, if you're playing into a Crocodile, you're getting blown up by a Gunk Shot or an Aerial Ace or something like that. So you're not actually checking most of them. Yeah, so I think defensively, this team has really awkward pivots a lot of the time. I like the double Intim Core and Overcold Gyarados, but again, I really don't like drafting Gyarados to use it defensively. And I feel like, especially with Prim on the team, it's going to kind of be how it's used very often. I don't think this team is terrible. I think Rhyperior Articuno... Yeah, I don't think it's a 16... I don't think it's an 11 through 16 team. I think it's probably... Maybe it's number 11. Maybe it's number 11, because I'm trying to think... Right now, I'm comparing it into Jacob, and I think I like Jacob's team a little bit more.
And Bear saves it for me, so put it back in 6 through 10. It has Bear.
Oh, so true. Who do you think is better? Jacob? Which team do you think is a little better? Jacob, or do you think it's Viz?
Let's hit up Jacob again.
I think that's where I'm kind of leaning right here. One sec.
Viz.
You think so?
Yeah, not even.
Alright, I think that what that's going to do is that's going to put Viz at the 10 spot. It's going to bump Jacob down to the 11 spot. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah. And then we only have 2 more. And it looks like we're going to have some teams bumped up. Because I don't think my team's going to pop up. Also, what we're going to do with my team, gang, is we're going to have chat vote on it, because I don't want to rank my own team. So we'll have you guys vote on it. We got 44 folks here, which also, again, crazy. 44 concurrent is wild. I really do appreciate it, y'all. But we got Big J Scurf next, who's here in chat. J Scurf, give us your pitch for why your team is in the top 5. Or if we're bumping up Panther. Hold on, we got to find his team first, though, huh?
I prepped for this team. This team is like... Yeah, it's really hard.
It's my week 2 team. I'm building for it right now. I got my rough draft kind of done this morning or last night.
It's beside your team.
Yeah. Oh, it is right next to my team. Look at that. It's gonna make this so easy in the end. All right. 16th. We're just gonna put your team last. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. We got Jay Scarf here. Ceruledge, Sandy Shocks, Terra Meloetta, which is one of the better Terra Cats in my opinion. Weezing, which I'm a big Weezing hater. Weezing Galar, not regular Weezing. Big Weezing Galar hater in every metagame except for low tier. I think it's great in low tier. Cobalion, Milotic, Glastrier, which is kind of a mon that I think is better with Terra than not. Personal Lola, Braviary, Chestnut, and Dreadnought. Tiro, as a guy who built for this team in week 1, without spoiling your build, J-Skirt's build, the game, what were your thoughts on this team in the builder?
Alright. In the builder itself, the big issue you have when you're building for this team is you see 11 mons and 10 of them can come. The Alolan Persian is there, but he's not coming.
No.
I'm sorry, Alolan Persian is not that guy. But you have, like, and then you just have, like, a throwaway last pick Shell Smash Sweeper just to be there and say, hey, you should probably prep.
Command a lot of prep. Yeah, I guess the team does forces a lot of prep from everything. I'm not big on Glacier. I think Glacier for 7 points, if you're not tarrying it, is really ass. I think that's a guy that barely ever comes.
I mean, it isn't great, but you still have to like keep it in mind.
Yeah, because it's strong. Like ice plus ground / fighting is always going to be strong.
Yeah, you're just going to get destroyed by it. The biggest issue I have with this team is it's super dragon weak. Your dragon's resists are Cobalion and Galarian Weezing. And
like very Draco weak.
Is not a steel type, and Galarian Weezing has no Spadef to save it.
Like very Draco weak.
Yeah, so you just click Draco versus this team, and you're claiming one. So, Ceruledge as a spin blocker is kind of rough. If you come in on like, so you have perfect hazards and Sandy Shocks.
Yeah.
And you get them up. If you're like trying to block with Ceruledge, you're taking a bunch of damage. Now, Ceruledge can take advantage of that with weak armor, but its speed isn't the highest. So if you have like if you're facing like a Choice Scarfer, you still outspeed it.
Also, if you're coming into spin block and you're taking a knock, you take one, you're weak armoring, you're not really in a position where you can super SD again or you're going to die.
Yeah,
and Ceruledge lacks that Oko power, is one of the things with it.
Yeah,
I think I'm not big on Ceruledge when I can't Terra, and we did Terra ban it here, so it's not like he didn't deter the wrong mon. Like, it was Terra ban, because I think it's really good with Terra. But I do think that it's a little bit tough as a spin blocker specifically. I think as a win con, like I come in, set up, live a hit, win the game, very solid. But I don't think it's a great spin blocker, personally.
And the other thing is the removal is defog from a Braviary or a Galarian Weezing. That is the removal.
The team really wanted spin, to avoid that counter stack kind of aspect. I do love Shocks a lot. I love Shocks plus the momentum that this team has. And I think that Meloetta is incredibly strong. I really do like Meloetta a lot.
Oh, Meloetta is amazing.
That one with Terra is going to be incredible.
You can be like both a physical Terra set with Pirouette form, or just a special Terra set with regular form.
Yeah, and I really like Cobalion.
Huge.
I think Cobalion's
prep so much tougher for Meloetta.
I think Cobalion's actually a solid low tier mon. I do. I really like Cobalion.
I'm the Columbus Cobalions, and that mon sucks.
Oh man, I'm a big Cobalion guy. I like it. Milo's incredibly annoying to kill in this tier too if you're supporting it correctly. I think this team's very solid. I think it's top 5 though. I think I bumped Panther up.
It's not top 5.
I think I bumped Panther up, and I think I put. What do you think about this versus Addison's team?
I would.
Yeah, like
I think I like this team more than Addison's.
I was thinking so too.
Because like Addison's, like there are like 4 mons on her team that I don't even care about.
Yeah, that's valid.
So, like it's not even going in my thought process when I'm building.
No,
does that mean I'll lose to it? Maybe. But
maybe. Well, yeah. Again, and keep in mind, y'all, this is solely based on what we think.
But I see Gligar. I'm like, okay, that's a Gligar. It'll just die to a random water move or a random ice move. I'm not really caring for it.
All right. Really quick, we are going to start a poll on my team. First, we'll decide the tier in which my team will go in. If you guys are going to put me in 16, shit, I guess you're putting me in 16. If you're going to put me in 1 through 5, that's fine too. My team. I think it's fine either way. I won't defend it. We're going to look at my team after I do this poll. But again, also, 3 more members. I will give 5. We are so close to the end of stream. If you guys want to just gift 3 members, really cheap. They become OG Albino channel members, and then I'll give 5 more. Or if you want to become a member yourself and help us out, that'd be super clutch. I'd really appreciate it a ton. 6 through 10. And we'll go 11 through 16. Cool. So we're going to go ahead, start the poll. Let's go ahead, take a look. What you guys think we're rocking with. You go ahead and pull it up.
Let's go see it first.
You know me. Hold on, I got to find it. Oh, wrong one again. Go me. Alright, here we are. The Carolina Roaring Moon with Gucci Sui, Taurus Paldea Water, Tornadus, Diancie, Serena, Delphox, Slowbro Galar, Piloswine, Spiritomb, Electros, and Dogshit Chansey. Not the worst mon in the world, but...
You drafted a Chansey unironically.
Yeah, it was... So, the Chansey pick, it genuinely was that I was looking at the board. I didn't really feel like I needed anything else, right? And there was nothing in 6... 5, 4, whatever, like, you know, how many points I had left, that I really thought was viable and fit. And one weakness this team did have, in my opinion, was Ghost. I didn't have a good Ghost. I actually didn't have a Ghost resist. Now, is there a lot of Ghosts in the tier? No. But I'd like to have one, you know? So I figured, okay, why not? I also thought it still got Wish. it didn't still get Wish. So that's something to keep in mind.
No, you dropped a Ghost Resist that you're probably not even bringing to resist.
It's at least a Ghost Resist in my mind, right? Is the way I see it. It's the way I see
Ghost
it.
Resist. It's not coming, but it's the Ghost Resist.
Dude, what is happening? Chat is tweaking. Hold on, I gotta look on this so I can even see the thing because OBS is tweaking. Hold on. Quickest click ever. Was it specifically 16? Are you actually going to use Pilot's Wine? Fun fact, it came week 1. Pilot's Wine's great, man. All right.
Oh, I love Pilot's Wine.
Now, again, we got 12 votes. I'd appreciate some real votes instead of John Jr. Hive Mind. Reminder, when he tells you that I'm 16 specifically, I've made playoffs in my last 2 Wi-Fi leagues.
Yeah, John Jr. missed BBR playoffs, remember that?
One of these guys won BBR and the other one was watching. That's tough. Okay, where are we at? Because we're gonna have to adjust some placements. If so,
I will give my thought process.
Yeah, tell me.
All right, you'll need to go back to it though.
All right, let's see here.
All right, so we have Hisuian Gudra. I love Hisuian Gudra. When I was picking, I was between Entei and Hisuian Gudra. Like how you were between Hisuian Gudra and Entei, I was also between the two.
Yeah,
so
we were
helping
get one of them
out there.
Yeah.
I think Paldean Water Tauros is a top 10 mon in this format.
Everyone would tell me that it's terrible. I think that guy's awesome.
Amazing typing, amazing bulk. It's a great mon, and like 100 speed for low tier is pretty good. Torn, it's a Torn. It's a Torn.
I think it's really strong. I think it wasn't there necessarily for like synergy purposes. It was there solely because it's strong as shit, and it was still there, right? And I didn't see anything more than needed.
You can smoke D-Ray with the Torn.
True.
Diancie, I love Diancie as it got spikes, so Diancie's just really good, and now it works as like the bulky fairy type for both defense and special defense, as well as the rocks, Moonblast, Diamond Storm plus body press. So it does give you all that. I'm a huge Serena fan. I've always loved Serena.
Dude, the truth.
I drafted like everywhere in standard. I keep being told it's not a grass type because it doesn't resist ground that well, but it's an amazing mon. So fight me. Delphox, I haven't really seen Delphox used before. I'm excited to use it. I think from what I've seen it's like it's stat wise and it's move pool. I think it works very well as a Terra Captain. Yeah. So I do look forward to seeing that. I was thinking about taking Glowbro at one point. I don't really care for Glowbro on this team per se, but it works. I mean, I guess it's like the fighting resist, since your fighting resist Delphox is just gonna change types. So yeah, it works for that. It's still kind of like a momentum sap, but it works for that. And then, you know, the last 4 picks: Pilot's Wine, Spiritomb, Electros, and then Chansey. We're not going to talk about Chansey.
We talked plenty about Chansey.
Yeah, we said enough about it. Spiritomb, Spin Blocker. It doesn't do great at that because it's a Spiritomb. It's just going to die. Electros, I do stand Electros. I think it is. It has no weaknesses, so it will take hits. It can be like an assault vest. It just has crazy coverage, and it can like also bulk up and stuff. So I love it as it has so much coverage. Its attack stats aren't amazing, but they can get boosted. So not terrible by any means. So like as a 7-point mon, low tier pickup, I stand the team. I can see it as like anywhere between top 5 to like 6 or 10. Definitely not 11.
My personal vote is I think my team's a 6 to 10. I think the top 5 teams are definitely better than mine. But that's just me personally. Let's see what the folks said. Oh, dude. Just barely 6 to 10. We take it, baby. Alright, so then what we gotta do is I gotta do another poll. Random poll.
We have to sort it.
Big wishes, though. If only it fucking got big wishes, man. If fucking only it got big wishes. Alright, start a poll. We have to decide where 6 to 10. We have 6, 7, 8, 9.
Well, we can't do 10, so I guess we're not 10.
9/10. Alright, we'll revote if it gets that. If that gets it, we'll revote 9 or 10. That'll be the easiest way to do it. Alright. Let's go ahead.
How would I rate this versus my team? I would think my team is like a solid 8. I would say. For Owen's team,
the best way of going about this is just ranking it against each team. Alright, me versus J-Scarf, who makes it better? Me versus, like, who is better? Me versus, you know, blank, who is better? I guess it has to be, or J-Scarf has to go up to top 5, right?
Yeah, I think J-Scarf is top 5.
Yeah, J-Scarf goes up to top 5 now. So it's me or Addison's team, me or your team, me or Dapper, me or Viz.
I would put you over Viz and Dapper. I would say our teams are quite similar.
Well, their team is 6 to 10. There you go. The Curse OGDA script Chansey segment. Unfortunate. Yeah, I didn't even realize until I did that script, dude. That's how bad it was. I was in call writing it, and I was like, wait, what do you mean he doesn't get fucking Wish?
Bro chose Chansey unironically. It's like Ghost Resist, guys. Don't worry. Who cares if some of the ghosts
I kill them offensively. There's not a lot of them. It's just like Shadow Ball spam becomes a little bit less free. I think that is one of the issues. I am very Ghost weak. The reason I drafted Spirit Tomb wasn't even really like to spin block. It helps with that, but my team's not super hazard focused. It was a secondary offensive fighting check because really I only had Glowbro, and Glowbro gets smoked by Nox and EQs, which every ground or whichever fighting has. So having that option was nice for me personally. Alright, what are we at? We're at 8 votes, and it looks like a good 50% are saying it 8. Just above tier team. Let's see where we're at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I would be right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That is going to be our tier maker for the coaches. Really quick before we leave, we'll give you guys some extra time to drop those freaking gifties, man. But what we're gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna go ahead and make a chat for the fan document for you guys. We're gonna go ahead and make a chat for the fan document in the server. So let me scroll up. I'm gonna drop the fan doc in the server, and I'm gonna drop the tier maker and announcements for you guys who want to make your own and go ahead and drop it, which is dope. 1 second.
What's all this Serena?
What, dude? I need a freaking emoji. I don't know how to do an emoji. Unfortunate. Dude, yeah, the streets hate. Dude, the streets freaking hate.
Serena.
What do you call it? Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Haters. All right, go ahead and make sure you can't type in. You can't type in Fandoc, right?
Yeah, I can. Well, I can, but I can't. Oh, wait, you mean in the server? Let me check.
Yeah, in the server.
Fandoc. Yeah, I do not have permissions to send messages.
Let's go! Alright. Season 1. I'm sure Kirby does. I'm sure Kirby and everybody with the casserole does. Season... Yeah, that's what I'm making right now, Pepsis. 1 Fandoc. LTM fan doc. There it is. It's going to go ahead and be posted after each week's game gets uploaded. We will upload it later. So this doesn't have any of the week one results on it. I double checked. We're good. I got to figure out why the logos aren't loading. So I'll fix that later. And let me go ahead and get the tier maker for you guys in case you guys want to go ahead and make it. Let's see. How do I share? It's not just a...
I think you just like post the link, can't you?
Hold on, I'm gonna do a screenshot of mine. Yeah, I'll probably just post a link. Save as. So it looks like our final order is going to be Vepsis number 1, Thomas number 2, Keegan number 3, Panther number 4, J-Scarf number 5, number 6 being Addison, 7 T-Row, me 8, Dapper Snapper 9, Viz 10. Jacob 11, Obo 12, Hunky 13, Tone 14, Angel 15, and D-Ray 16. Again, solely based on coaching rosters. Let me go ahead, go back.
Shout out to Don Fan Rain, though.
Pig. Here is...
Okay, D-Ray, I'm glad that you learned your lesson, though. You don't take the range setter first.
Would like to make your own. Then in B,
That's like
so we
in that
can...
deck, you choose Caliper before you choose Mega.
Yeah, 100%.
I was like, okay, well, someone could just take Mega Pert and then take Polytoad and just fuck over your Pelipper.
Perfect. So I think we are all good to go. Chat needs an emoji. I don't know how to do it. I guess PR screenshots is actually a better idea. Let me make that. Actually, Vestas, you're spitting. PR screen shots. Let's make it under fan docs. Edit message. Delete lobby. And PR screenshots. Can you type in PR screenshots, Tiro? He can. Big. The chat needs an emoji. They all need emojis. Deer's gonna have an aneurysm when he sees 2 chats with no emojis, but I don't know how to add them. Deer is the mastermind for that. Alrighty, gang. Well, I think that's where we're gonna go ahead and end stream for the day. Don't you dare give me an ad right here, Tier Maker. This is why we go in presentation mode. But I'm gonna go ahead and we'll have it be nice and pretty.
Hey, Hot Lady's near you.
There, dude. The hot single's near me? Me, specifically? Yeah. Let's go!
Yep.
Alright. Well, we're gonna go ahead and end stream for the day. Nice little 1.5 hour stream, or 2 hour stream. Now, going forward, what we will be doing every week, LTM, we're gonna do a watch through. We're gonna watch one side of each coach. We're not gonna watch all 16. We're gonna watch 8. I don't have that much time. I'll be watching them Mondays in the morning times because I don't have class till night and I have Mondays off work. Because Sundays is going to be DPL streams I'm going to do with L5. So Monday, each week, we'll do a watch through of LTM. We'll go through the games, all that stuff. We can watch and hang out and give some more exposure to the game.